where is my camera? All right, so not this one.
Yeah. Hi guys, Stivo Lalla hapa. Na platform ni Stivo Lalla TV. Manze leo nimekuja na guest wa nguvu, my new guest manze. Nimemtafuta na come through. Kama kawa, najua mta connect na yeye and then fanya vitu zingine za maajabu. Hadi yako na organization. Basi kusema cause this platform is where somebody writes his or her own story. So Letoya, please welcome.
Thank you so much. So, just in a humble way, because maybe it's not known, Letoya is a beautiful transgender woman, so the pronouns are she, her, so it is not...
Lady.
Yes.
Oh. So, wonderful. Guys, I've come with a beautiful lady called Letoya Jonstone.
Yeah.
So, now Letoya, now that you're here, I knew you like, can I say 4 years ago?
Okay.
When you're still living in Olympic?
Yes.
We just met in M-Pesa, but I know you can...
I can't remember.
I was with Kibra in M-Pesa, and then you were coming with the hot pant.
Shorter than your temper.
Yes.
Even that cable I can't remember.
It was just straight away the main gate where you were staying. That M-Pesa.
Okay.
Where there was that, it's called Mogaka.
I think that's where my hairstylist Vicky used to be, because it was right next in front of our course.
Yeah, there. So I was like, who's this guy? Who's the man coming with the hot pant?
I know.
And he's not even carrying a rugby ball. So they were like, you don't know him? This is a girl, so like that. We started, and then unfortunately just came near me.
Oh my
God. The first word that you said,
yes.
Ay, unakapoa, can I deposit money? And then I was like...
No, I love complimenting a good-looking gentleman whenever I see one. Because number one, I do believe that our men are not being complimented a lot. Because in the African culture, the way it's structured, it is structured in a way that you people are Simbas, you are strong, you are cornerstone. So sometimes a gentleman has really put all the effort, or maybe their wives have put all the effort for them to look good, and then people are not paying attention to that. So it's just like when someone is having a good smell, or somebody has got like a special taste, or somebody has got like, well, just compliment people. So if you are looking good, you must have been looking good for me to compliment you.
Up to now, I'm still looking good.
Yeah.
See no more fans. So, what are you up to? Because I last saw you in Kibra Fashion Week.
Yes.
You were the ones helping the models, teaching them how to model and do those things on a runway.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started just talking to her on the phone, and then I said, Letoya, I just want you to come through and manage this platform welcomes everyone, because here you share your stories, you connect with other people's, because some people always judge without being part. Some always say it is wrong because they have no taste.
Yeah.
And you only know if something is good or bad if you are part of it. Kama mtu anawacha bwana. Wamecheza vibaya. Wanashindwa aje? Yake ingia hapa anapiga tu mahewa, anapiga tu mahewa. So tell us about it.
So basically, one thing that people need to understand is that Letoya Jonstone is a director of 2 organizations. One is a modeling agency known as Toitoi Models, which is well-rounded modeling agency, which is scouting, training, and making sure that everybody, inclusive of diversity, is included in order for them to perform their work as models. So that one is the one that has been working with the Kenya Fashion Awards and has been working together to train the models that nowadays you see on Louis Vuitton or Victoria's Secret, billboards, campaigns, and all that. Apart from that, Letoya is also a director of an organization known as Transgender, which is a community-based organization based in Homa Bay County, and it is dealing with marginalized transgender-specific people. However, we incorporate gender non-conforming and the intersex community, more so for the marginalized communities. And this is because we just wanted to encourage the donor world, the government, and even allies to understand that they cannot just be bringing in fundings in urban areas, but then it's supposed to spill over all the way down. As you know, Homa Bay is the most affected with the HIV and AIDS and malaria. So for that, and also TB. And so for that reason, there is a lot of triple threat, but people don't always get to gauge and have conversation. But there is always a spectrum of how things are being done in the male and female frame when they are supposed to shift the paradigm and be inclusive and diverse and be cognizant of the gender that is beyond just male and female. So yes, that is where I come in. I am the director, and yeah, sure. Apart from that, I'm also a fashion stylist who is, and also a personal shopper for billionaires in Kenya that are super private, which sucks to say, but then, yes, but basically, let me just say, like, high-end clientele that are always like really putting together things to work with high-profile people. I can't mention names, but yes.
But I know one, eh? He's a guy in a station. So if you say a personal shopper, it means that the guy or the female write down the thing that he or she wants and then go and shop for them?
So basically, this is what is happening. There are people whom, number one, they could be busy, or number two, they could be just overwhelmed by style or the fashion sense of how things work. So what they always do is they try to look for help beyond their wardrobe. That's where we come in. So whenever we are coming in, what we do is that we look at what they always have and we help them declutter. If they are not able to declutter, then we use what is already existing and pair them. So the watches, the sunglasses, the hat, the shirt, the sweaters, the whatever. It is basically more of listening to somebody and how they love to dress, then creating a vision board, which then helps you create a mood board. Then from the mood board, then you will ask them about their favorite colors and things like that, and then help them introduce other colors that they might not be comfortable with, but then get to see how it's working. So depending with the age, size, and also the functions that they want to go to. So once you've done that, you arrange it into their closet in how they'd want it to be. So that way then helps them.
You just make for them the work easy.
Exactly, so it informs them. So sometimes they don't have enough, or whatever they have, they've already worn after some time. In as much as we are talking sustainability, some people want to give those ones away and then get new ones. So that's where we come in. So we go shopping for them, and then we bring them home, and then we do that.
That looks like that must be a very good business.
Oh my goodness, it is looking like a good business, but trust me, it is crazy because it is a mental game. You get something wrong, everything else can be returned back to the store. And when you get like these super rich people, price tag is not a big deal. You return everything and it is being paid for, but it is you will never get job again. So you need to be able to put your everything in order
to maintain the job.
Like I always say, getting the job is not hard. Keeping the job is the hardest part. Yeah.
So Letoya,
go ahead.
Because you have corrected me when you were starting. You said that for you, I'm supposed to. I'd be right if I recognize you as a female.
Yes.
And I know we are in an African country.
Yep.
Africa is our business.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you were a female?
Yeah. Yeah, so just to answer you, I think basically one of the reasons as to why I always avoid media or interviews, however big it is because journalists don't take their time to do a background check on somebody and try and find out either their achievements or the things that they've done or who they are. So by the time somebody is asking you, who are you, or misgendering you during that, it becomes a hard time because then you have to explain. Sometimes we just want to go somewhere and it has nothing to do with our gender or sex. You just want to come in as a Letoya, who is a professional and whatever. And talking about the African concept of where we are and things like that, whether male or female, I don't think if it is really relevant, because Africa is a society, and in a society there are people, and I am not diminishing anything. Please, you people, don't come for me. What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, people just want to see your professionalism and all that. I'm a beautiful woman, and you've asked a good question. So how did you come to learn that you're a woman? I think when you are born, everybody is born the way they are. And I think it has always been the criteria that has always been a problem, because when somebody is lifted up, when they are given birth to, people are either born male or female, because that is what we are being told. What about the people who are born intersex? And we know we are talking about the 1% that have got two genitalia. Nobody is talking about that. Another thing that people need to know is that in a human being, there is like a lot of things that are happening, and finding who you are is a journey rather than a destination. And this has nothing to do with the Bible or the creation, the way it's done. All that you are believing that was created by somebody who made you think that people are either born male or female. Because how do you explain an intersex person who was born with the two genitalia? And we know they've been killed. So I was born an individual, and I think let me also explain who transgender people are. A transgender person, who is a person like me, was either born male or female, and it's just that our sex is on the brain. So, and sex and gender. So we do not identify with the sex or the gender that we were born in. So we are not intersex people. We are just, because intersex is another story that only intersex people will be able to talk about, because I don't want to talk about their stories. I do believe that it is good to give power to people to talk about their own issues. They will address it better. But myself, being a transgender woman, it just means, as I've said, and yes, my pronouns are she, her. So just see me as the beautiful girl that I am. Because if I come with my makeup and my wigs and whatever, and that is not a skit, it is just who I am.
It's fine. Yeah. So I was asking, you just decided to do the fashion and style?
Oh, yeah.
What motivated you to do that? Or when you were coming together, it's found that you have already started doing that?
Yeah. So my journey started, interestingly, I was a fashion model prior. And then from the fashion, I started training the models, because I used to look at models and they were walking the wrong way. So I developed passion of knowing what to do by learning from the likes of Naomi Campbell, Alec Weck. We had Grace Jones. We had Madame Deborah Shaw. We used to have people like Bethany Haddison, the women in the 90s and the 80s and even in the 60s. And after learning that, when I came to Kenya, because I started modeling when I was really very young, I was still in high school. So I noticed that beauty pageantry had dominated the fashion scene to an extent that people didn't have any idea how to distinguish between fashion and pageantry. And all of them, they make big mistakes. Yes. Even in Homa Bay, while they were doing Miss Tourism, I could hear them refer to the beauty pageants as models. The models need to come. And I'm like, no, they're not models, they're beauty pageants.
So now, what's the difference? So
the difference is that, number one, the catwalk for beauty pageantry starts with the right foot. For fashion, it's the left foot. Number two, in beauty pageantry, there is always a standard of beauty that is always put and looked at and whatever. Although it is changing nowadays, but then there are things that are expected. Like a beauty pageant needed to have a course. A beauty pageant need to be, it is just not just about the catwalk, but before it is more of beauty pageantry, it is more of showcasing who you are as a person, not what you are wearing. But in fashion, the models do disappear, and what they are selling is what comes first. Because nobody wants to go home with you, they want to buy what you are having. That's the difference, basically, yeah. So I started that, which then, during my time when you were dark skinned, nobody could really hire you a lot, because colorism was a big issue. and nobody could hire people like us who are dark skinned and melanin and like strong melanated. So lighter skin and biracial models were doing good. So that was when I noticed that there is a gap, and for that reason, they also didn't know how to catwalk. They were catwalking as beauty queens. So I started doing it, correcting the models. Then later on, I started the Toitoi models. And the Toitoi models is coming from my name, Letoya. So toy from Letoya.
Even referring like Toitoi.
Exactly. So Toitoi models came in from my name, Letoya, which is Toitoi models. Which is Letoya, but now the company is Toitoi model. And the intention of it was just like, number one, the marginalized models that were not being put to be on the runway were to be included. And then number two, people could be themselves. We don't care if you're a transgender, if you are a Christian, if you are a Muslim, if you are whatever. It's just that there were some etiquettes that were to be gone through, and this is what was expected of you, and that inclusivity was to be there. So through Toitoi models, I am able to work as a fashion stylist, contributing for Parents Magazine, contributing for a UK-based magazine by Lydia Cutler in Aberdeen. As you know, Aberdeen is the richest part of the UK. So Lydia Cutler, yes, I'm telling you. So Lydia Cutler was running Aberdeen Fashion Week, and then now I started contributing to them. I've done the same to Switzerland, so just like really different countries. I don't have to mention them. So from then, Kenya Fashion Awards also came in, and I started training the models, showing them how it's done. And I think from then, I think fame just came in. The next moment, it was when I was styling the likes of Akode, which is like one of the Kenya's biggest people, and then Sheila Mwanyiga, which was even bigger than Akode before then, during the Sheila, the praise. Yeah, so the likes of Sheila Mwanyiga, just to mention, but a few which sucks, throwing names. But then I've worked with different people. So that one also, I think, brought about that, and being in the music videos and breaking the boundaries. But I think the crown jewel, I think, came in when BBC named me fashion icon. I didn't even know I was going to get the name. Because when they interview you, I think it needs to go abroad to the UK. They need to be edited, then I think it comes back, whichever way they do, but I know it's crazy. So the next minute I could see, the next minute, like the link came in, and I never saw the link for up to 1 month.
What? Meaning you don't go through your mails or what?
Who Googles themselves?
But then you can't Google yourself.
You cannot. Even watching yourself on YouTube after doing an interview is uncomfortable. Because you always feel like, oh, I should have done this, I should have said this, oh, I was being wordy. So that self-beating, you don't want to always go through. So you do interviews and you...
So now after how do you realize that you're the icon?
Because people started sending the links to me. Yes. Including the lady who did the interview was just like, Letoya, here is the interview that we did. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It was just okay with those confirming.
Yes, I didn't click it for up to like around 3 months.
So you realize that.
Then when I clicked, then I saw the boom, transgender fashion icon. And I was like, voila, I've made it in life.
Mama.
That was good.
So
that is how my fashion life came about.
I've heard you saying that before I come to Kenya, which means that you are not raised in Kenya?
That one is really a long story that I'm not going to talk about now. I'm just going to talk about my life in Kenya. So I am in Kenya.
I will pass that one.
It's too complicated. Don't talk about it.
Because even the first day I saw you, I thought that you are coming from lower Africa, like Zimbabwe.
Oh, that's really a beautiful thing, because most people think I come from Nigeria. Some people think that from I don't know. I've just been like really put in several things.
Then I'm not alone. Until the day I heard, I
speak very fluently, or shockingly enough, with the dialect and everything in it. And one thing that is terrible is that I don't speak Swahili and I don't understand it until now that I am a director. So now, I started getting a Swahili teacher sometimes back when I was still working with Medicines and Frontiers France. which then, so the things that the teacher was teaching me and the things that people were speaking were completely two different
Because people are
things.
speaking shame.
Because, which is really terrible. So I was just like, what is this thing? During high school, I could just really fail Swahili intentionally because I was just like, I know very well that I'm not going to get it. So I never bothered. I never bothered with it. Actually, because I couldn't speak Swahili, the disc was introduced in school.
Because of you.
Because of
And
me.
then others have to suffer.
Which was really terrible because I was suffering more. Because every now and then I had to shut up all the time. Or write it. And when you write it, nobody's really going to give you a disc.
Which school was that?
It was actually like Otok Secondary School, which is like one of the most interior schools in
even
in Kenya.
Because Because where I learned, for us we are being given this because we don't want to speak in English.
Oh, what?
Yeah, now yours.
That's interesting.
Yours was different.
Okay. Swahili is complicated because I went to this school and then the teacher could be like, oh, if you want to greet people, then you say shikamoo. Then they are supposed to say marahaba. Then you come over here, then there is this thing like, I don't know, habari, and then niaje, VP, mambo, yes sir. And I'm like, so I went back to the teacher. First of all, one thing I did, I went to my friend and I told my friend, I think this gentleman is pretending to be a Swahili teacher, but trust me, he doesn't know anything at all. Because this is terrible. So I did the payment and I just told him, hey sir, I really appreciate you coming. Unfortunately, I don't want you to refund the money, but I won't be taking Swahili anymore. I needed to choose and do either German or French. So Yvonne Okello, who's my good friend, was just like, I do German. And I'm just like, baby girl, I don't want to get myself into something. Swahili just did me zero. So that's how the Swahili whatever happened. But nowadays, at least things are happening. Another thing that is happening is, while we were in high school and I tried to learn Swahili, before at least I could know like a little bit, the slap went on my face because somebody told me a huge insult in Swahili that's a greeting. So basically learning the big terrible words. So I was just like, so it's like from experience.
But now most of the guys speak in Swahili. If you want to listen or talk Swahili, maybe in radio session or
well, I'm intending to start my German classes and French classes because those are the ones that I'm going to, and Italiano.
You want to do them at all, or you start with one?
I would either like really do them back to back because then it will be much more easier.
But I think it confuse you.
It won't because some people say German is complicated, but it has got like a lot of and then French is really because it has got things like double, where you don't know merci. It's like I don't. So they won't confuse you. Plus, I don't think so. They're just like really different languages. I'm also intending to learn Russian and Mandarin because my best friend is supermodel. Doris Hammond Kwaka is impeccable she impeccably speaks French and Mandarin, which is Chinese, English, and shockingly enough, Swahili.
And you don't Swahili. And for her, she has just...
Because where I was growing up, I grew, and please, this is not like really I'm some posh kid or whatever. I was coming from a terrible interior place.
You're not a posh kid, but you behave like a posh kid.
I'm not behaving like one. I'm terrible. That's why I'm explaining myself. I'm a terrible kid. I grew up in a village whereby there was only cows. Actually, in school, we were being taught in Luo when I started. However, the very, very first school that I attended was an English purely speaking school. So my first language was English before even Luo. And then Luo part of it came in. And then now I would say my first language is Luo. So So growing up in a complicated space.
Then you just make it Swahili in real life.
Yeah.
So
Actually, my true friends from when we were growing up, if they could listen to me speak English right now, I think they would shrink and be dropped into or maybe develop
because
a scare, because it's terrible.
Now
Now my English is terrible as compared to before.
But to me it is very good. To me.
You are too kind. Carry on.
Thanks for that. So you just decided to start an organization, and then you said that you went to rural area. What motivated you to do that in rural and not in Kibra or Nairobi?
Yeah. So it's not something that I just decided. I think the lack of understanding of who we are and how the rural and marginalized communities work made me to go down, because you see, something that you've decided, it's just like you wake up and then you do it. I was not somebody who wanted to run an organization or things like that. All these things just keeps on coming. It's just that every now and then I could always go to meetings, I could always see something lacking. And Letoya is there and other people, but we were all coming from urban areas. In as much as I was working in Kibra, DC Health Center, which is at DC Health Center, I was still, because I started working at DC with women fighting AIDS in Kenya. So even though I was in Nairobi, most of the things we were getting them in Nairobi. There was nothing for people like myself in the rural area. So whenever I could go back home and I could ask around, and nobody was there. So the misinformation and them being flabbergasted and not knowing who they are could always leave people like me at a state of lethargy. And I didn't admire the energy that it could always take from people who are of my kind. And I was just like, you know what? Instead of making everyone be lackadaisical in trying to find information or trying to be whatever, or rather when they are not able to solve the problems, then just like really get coy and a coin to be at a state of a topper of a possum, then I could come in as a solution from what I had already learned, because it takes a lot to even learn yourself as an individual, who you are. And we've leaned towards other genders and other whatevers before then we could say, oh, this is actually who I am. Yeah, so that is what made me do that. So I decided to start Transuri in Homa Bay County because of the lack of representation in the rural areas.
Yeah. And did the community just welcome it once?
So it was really a challenge, but if something is not challenged, then it is not beautiful. If you don't fall, then it means that you're doing nothing. You have to go and interrupt and be able to make people question for them to be able to understand. So there are some challenges that I've faced as an organization. I think the word we've faced is way better, because I must have thought about it and came up with the name and did all that, but then I had to involve other people in order for us to register it. So there are challenges that are there that we've gotten. Number one, transgender community are not being funded directly. So that means that we are not able to implement. Number two, the challenges with how the constitution and the government is. And then lastly, just with the general population, because when you name something, then it becomes a problem. However, while we were existing just the way we were existing before, nobody was beating anyone or killing or doing whatever. Until now, the word transgender was put there. Then just like, what is that? So as people become more inquisitive, then now it keeps on becoming either a problem, because then they don't know, they don't have enough information and education about it. So yeah.
So in the field of styling, which clients have you worked with, and to work with him or her was very hard?
It was very hard?
Yeah, hard.
That's a very, very, very good question. And this is my answer. My clients are amazing to me. And whatever burden they come with, my job is to be Jesus and to solve them. So, yes.
That means that no matter the problem they come with or the burden, you know how to handle it.
They say that a doctor can only do their best.
So you always do your best.
I always do my best, and I appreciate my clients. They come with different challenges, and those challenges help us thrive. And when it comes to difficulty, you can't say, oh, so and so was difficult. You can just say that those are experiences learned, and you're moving on.
Yeah. And then you're learning when you're going to.
Yeah, you've got, because after all, life is not a destination. It is a journey rather than a destination.
Now, to anyone who is planning to be a stylist, to be a designer, to do the things that you're doing,
yes.
What advice can you give, and can you give them plan? If you go to this school, you can learn this. If you come here, you can do this.
Yeah. There are you people of today who are Gen Z are actually lucky enough because you have resources everywhere. However, I want you to know that things keep on changing every now and then. Make sure that your work is really, and I mean, you understand your work. Make sure that you learn how to develop vision boards. Make sure that you learn how to create mood boards. Make sure that you listen to clients keenly. Make sure that before you even like really put your final, at least present the capsule to the client. And then from there, if the client likes it, then at least it can help lead you on. The second thing is that you are going to meet people who are doing jobs better than you, and you're going to admire and say, oh, wow, how are they doing it? That one is strategically there for you to grow and learn from. Don't be intimidated by it. Number 3, don't think like some of us have made it in life. Our clients that we are working with might be rich or successful or famous, but then you still go back home to be yourself in your own house. So please, don't let your success be the one that is intimidating others. The reason as to why power is there is for it to empower other people. So if you don't have purpose, then other people will introduce you or treat you the way they feel, because that is how you come. But even if they treat you bad, you still have like really the power to change the narrative. But remember, above all this, style is something that is individually personalized. But fashion is diverse and it is everywhere. So just because someone is stylish, don't think that they're fashionable. Some people can be stylish and not fashionable, and some people can be fashionable and not stylish. Always remember that.
It's like you're giving closing remarks. So, my next question.
Go ahead.
Is there any company in East Africa that you think is very competitive than Toitoi?
Yeah, there are several companies that are more competitive than Toitoi. My child, which I call my baby, Brian Karema, that I trained, is actually running Mtebi model. And his model actually just I think he's going to do a campaign for Louis Vuitton. And I've worked for like some major shows. We also have the amazing ISIS Africa, which did the Africa's Next Supermodel, which happened immediately after Kibra Fashion Week. There is also Looks Like a Video Foundation that is in Kibra, which is impeccably doing wonderful jobs. And then apart from that, there is you people who are doing a wonderful job. So all these are actually organizations that are way doing better than Toitoi models. However, with us, we are not after success. We are into failure. We are focused into failure, so that when success comes, it's a surprise, because the pressure that comes with success and the people wanting to do this, to do that, and all packaging is just overwhelming.
True. So that's why you're deciding to
Yes.
work on the failure. Then the other one, when it's come, boom,
Yes.
celebration.
Well, we don't even really celebrate. We are just like, oh, wow.
We knew it.
Well, it is not that we know it, because our focus is problem solving rather than celebrating when a client gets better. What we do, we can actually just like get into the mood of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Of course, it makes you feel better a little bit. You can applaud, but then the applause doesn't last. You need to leave the arena while the applause is still going on. So we are raised in the marginalized areas like Kibra. Because of that, failure has always been a tool that is being used to bring us down. Well, where do you stay, Kibera? Then nobody's calling you back again. Where do you stay, Kibera? Then you're not being involved because we're associated with the hooliganism, we're associated with demonstrations, bad behaviors, poverty. So when you are doing something that is superseding the expectations of normal people, you really make them start to wonder, why are you irrelevant? Why are you like this? But you see, our job is not for us to tell people who we are. Our job is to thrive and to exist and to be in our best duality that can be able to inform and impact other people in the best ways possible.
That you can.
Yeah.
I know that you are working international and local.
Yeah.
Can you compare the clients locally and international?
Yeah. I think the difference is really a beautiful thing because then it really gives a room for improvement. So our African culture, or let me just talk about Kenya, the way it is structured, the second-hand clothing, which is mitumba, is really taking over. We are also talking about sustainability of fashion, which people don't even understand. That sustainability is having that one jacket and wearing it for the next 5 or 10 years when you're still able to wear it. That means that when people are living in Kibera and they're not getting enough food and they're walking on foot going to town, which is like around like 10 or 20 kilometers from 16 kilometers from where they live, they look at it, people look at it like we are suffering. But one thing they don't know is that we are exercising and we are healthy. And your clothes can fit you for up to like around 10 years with ease, and that is sustainability. You getting bigger or taller than your clothes and leaving them for your brother or your sisters to have them, that is sustainability. When we are getting the clothing which is actually in Kibra, in Toy Market, when we buy them, it means that Zara, Calvin Klein, Yves Saint Laurent, all of them are there. So we are able to get variety without even burning fuel or anything. So we are the people who actually do the real sustainability. But in the West, it is just a movement culture that then and now need to be given a name for it to be. The problem is that we don't understand ourselves and we wait until the Western world start having conversation. Then now we start saying, oh, this is a meaningful conversation. But these are the things that we do every day. We've been sustainable in our foods. We used to have granaries where people do those things and then you save, and then people could not go without food for the whole year. And we could just use the ash to like really rub the food, the cover, or even to dry. Exactly, and then we dry by using just the ashes. But then nowadays, look at what we have, fast food and whatever. So anyway, to answer that, I wouldn't say that we are behind, but according to the international standards, we are behind. It's just that we have a leadership that don't really think of the youth-based intentions of fashion and don't know how to turn fashion to become something that can improve a GDP. Because if we are able to involve, like impact our own Kenyan fashion industry, whereby fashion stylists can be paid a good price, fashion models can be paid good prices, different people can be paid right, then at least they can be taxed. And when you are being taxed, it goes to the government. When you buy, they are able. We need to also be able to improve things and then put, like right now, we only have a Nyango Mpinga and like a few people, you can even count them, who are like really selling abroad and doing well. But then why don't the government actually work together by bringing the things that are needed? Because what is the difference of them installing an EPZ in Kenya that is making Victoria's Secrets and H&M and Calvin Klein in Kenya, but then they are not able to make Kenyan designers to be able to do that? So number one, education needs to be put. Number two, the fact that schools like Mawego, which are technical schools for people who are not able to go to university, are being looked down upon. And when somebody wants to become a leader, even a president, then they are being qualified according to the degree that they... And we are just like, those are the things that are limiting people. So the best thing to do is listen to people and create a structure that can be inclusive. Listen to people, send a few people that you picked out of the country, give them like around 5 years just to learn, and the government also to learn. So that when those people are coming back to Kenya, they come back to Kenya with an intention. Or do the exchange program whereby the people, where the people who are there, so those people from abroad can let us know where our weaknesses are and where our strengths are, and do our thing. That is why we came up with Kibra Fashion Week, because we are tired of copying the West. How about the West start copying us? Yeah. And did it work?
It worked. Yeah. So guys, thank you. And now I would like is there anything that you can discuss?
Oh yes, what I'm going to...
Because I know you're supposed to fly.
Yes, I know. So the best thing that you need to do is subscribe to this channel and support. And just because this whole YouTube channel or podcast is on YouTube and other spaces, please try and support, pay, subscribe, and make sure that you support the people. After all, if you want to see Jay-Z, then you've got to listen to his music. If you want them to be big, then people like myself and other people need to come together, not because other people are superior or whatever. There is no clout chasing here. Here we say it as it is, and we kill it with love. #pungulu.com.
Manze guys, thank you manze. Na Letoya kuja real. Tunaende kwa the next video, next episode, kwa sababu anafaa kufly na tutaki tumwest. Nataki pia time ametupatia tuitumie bure, kwa sababu yeye ni ule mtu mwenyewe usipomkaribisha vile inafaa, you will not see her again. Anakata link na anafunga hizo vitu na anakublog. Thank you guys for watching.
You're welcome. Yes.